Welcome to our first text effect tutorial. So we are going to start by creating a new file, and from there we're going to go over to screen, and we're going to click on 1920 by 1080, our first HD resolution picture, or I guess you could say project. We're going to leave the DPI at 72. If it's anything else, you can change it to 72. That way we can keep the file size down because we're going to keep it on the computer. 72 is the maximum screen resolution. Anything more than that's just kind of file space for online. We're going to leave the background at white and hit create. And first thing I'm going to do is take my text tool and click anywhere on my paper. I'm going to bump my size up to 150 for now, and I'm going to choose a font. So you want to choose a font that is relatively bold. I'm just going to kind of pick one here. You do want to make sure it's bold, it looks the best, but you can pick whatever you want because it still works. So I'm gonna choose this font. I'm actually going to type in all caps. Totally up to you if that's what you want to do. I like to think it looks better, at least this text effect, in all caps. All right, so I'm gonna jump off of this text, and I'm gonna double click on to the right of that name so that I'm not renaming it. It'll go into layer style. So similar to what we did with the layer effects, right? If you can double click on the layer, it gives you layer styles, and you could do that on any layer, but on text, it just obviously affects the text. So first thing I'm gonna do is add a gradient overlay. And I'm going to change my gradient by clicking on that box there. And then I can change these two colors. So I have white and black. I'm going to change this black to like a darker green. And I'm going to change this white to a lighter green. And I'll hit OK. Hit OK. And we can really leave everything else the same as long as your opacity is 100% and blend mode is normal. Next thing I'm going to do is add an inner glow. And by default, inner glow is this yellow color. I'm going to click on it and I'm going to change it to that lighter green again. And what that's doing is adding glow inside each of the letters, right? So if I change this size, you can see it starts to take over the letters. I'm just going to have it glow like, do like 15 here. And then I'm going to change my spread. You can see as you change the spread, it starts to solidify a little bit there. I'm just going to do like a 5 on the spread. I'm going to put my opacity all the way up, and I'm going to change blend mode to normal. All right, I'm going to hit OK here because this next step requires us to have a black background. So I'm going to change my background to a black color. So paint bucket tool with black selected, and I'm just going to click on the background. So already it looks pretty cool, but I think we can make it look even cooler. All right, so I'm going to double click on my text here and go back in. And I'm going to add a stroke this time. You can see the stroke adds that red line across the outside of the letters. I'm going to change this stroke to white. And I'm going to keep all this stuff the same, but I'm going to make this a little bit bigger here. And find a good one. So I'll leave it at like 7. I'll do 8. 8 looks pretty good. All right, so after that, we can jump into the outer glow. And this time we're going to change it to that light green again. Up that opacity there. And here's where we get to change it. To add some glow there. Let's see what it looks like with darker green. You can play around with the color here. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Right, maybe darker green looks better. How's the spread look? Bump that out a little bit. Right, and then you have a pretty cool looking effect. We're going to add another stroke though. So we'll hit that plus. And we're going to jump down to this one. And what that does is gives us another stroke on the outside of the other. Right, so if I make this bigger, you'll see it adds it. I'm going to go with a light green here. That just adds a little bit of emphasis there. Right, and so if some things aren't working, you can always go back and like play around with the inner glow if you don't like the way it looks. So like I think my glow's a little bit too much, especially with the white. So maybe I'll change this a little bit and not make the green so light. And that tends to look a little bit better. It doesn't like wash into the white now. Right? And if you wanted to make it bigger, you could change and edit this. You could type whatever you want after that, right? But to make it bigger, we could change the size here to 200. You can go even like 400 if it'll fit. So not quite, a little bit too big. Let's do like 350. Right? So as you change the size, it obviously changes some of the effect too. So if you notice that you want to make some of your strokes a little bit bigger or something like that, you can, and it might start to look like it did. Add a little bit more outer glow here. Right, so it all depends on how you want to add it, but that's how you make a glow text effect in Photopea.